This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Cafe Bella Vista Restaurant and Pizzeria. Azito, give it a go with Azito. Refresh Pure Water. And Reading Cinemas, experience the difference.
Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. We've got Sonia Rain and Tony Miranda actually.
Yeah.
I thought you weren't Sonia. Sonia's back, but she's no longer our floor manager. We wanted someone better looking and a real man.
A real
if you're
man.
Listening. She'll probably be back in a hurry now. Big show on the couch today. Check out who's on it. On the show today, look at this, Tony. We've got Paula and Clay.
Excellent.
And we've got a guy coming in from Greece, the musical.
Wow.
That's Cameron Lynch. You know what he does?
remember.
Entertainment and movies. He's in. Annie K, KidzBiz. Can't wait to see her again. And Marnie Giroud brings in some pussy. 2 of them, to be exact. Can't wait. And I stroked them. Beautiful. And Rachel, I'm not stroking you because you're a wonderful politician. Senator Rachel Seaward's coming in to talk to our very own Nisha Seth. It's a Big Couch. It's $4.91 with Tony Miranda as our floor manager. Starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can watch it from your house. It's showtime on the couch. With and the best in town. Oh, it's showtime on the couch.
We have got a very big couch. Oh, sounded like a bit of loud music there. We love doing music on this show. We've got a young guy coming in centre stage now to open the show. His name is Reece Curle, and he's singing a beautiful song called Rockin' Robin. Here he is. Please welcome him. That is Reece Curle, who'll be performing at the end of the show. Thank you very much, Reece, a talented young 10-year-old. And if you want to be like Reece, please contact us. We'd love to have more performers on the show, and very dynamic as well. And at the end of the show, he's got another great song for us. But someone who's also a KidzBiz person, and she's only 11, is our very own Annie K, and she's back with a fantastic young model. Over to you, Annie K.
Thanks, Fred. Today on KidzBiz we have Samantha Garza, who recently won the Dolly Model Search 2013. Nice to have you here, Sam. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So we've got some questions. What do you like best about modelling?
It'd probably be meeting new people. I mean, every show I've done or shoot, I've met so many new people, and it's just such a great way to broaden your friendship with everyone else. I really like it.
So how many cameramen do you reckon you've met now?
Well, not too many, but a few.
Okay. And is modelling what you thought it would be when you first started out?
No, it's not. I really thought it'd be a lot more intimidating, difficult to do, but I mean, the people you meet are so nice. It's so easy to get along with everyone. It's really enjoyable.
So there's no mean camera people?
No.
yelling at you? Right,
No.
okay. And what would you like to do next after modelling?
I really want to go to university and study, maybe something science-based. But yeah, I definitely want to get an education, and I think that's really one of the most important things you can do for yourself.
Yeah, it is. And what did you have to do for the Dolly Model Search?
Well, it was great winning. I had to write blogs for the magazine website. So once a month I wrote a blog for them on advice about friendships or maybe what to do on the holidays, things that I like. It was good fun.
That sounds really fun. What happens, like let's say you're going to a shoot and the designer gives you something that's just not very nice at all. Do you just have to deal with it?
Well, you do. I mean, you're given what you have to wear, and you just have to wear it and deal with it. I mean, it's good fun to even be able to wear something that they've made personally for you, kind of. So, yeah, that's good.
That's good. Okay. And how do you avoid messing up on the runway? Because I've got 2 left feet when it comes to walking in a straight line.
Well, like they say, practice makes perfect. You have to practice all the time, wearing high heels, no heels, short heels, anything to get you, you know how to walk properly and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And who is your inspiration as a model? Who do you look up to?
Well, Curle won the Dolly competition as well,
Yeah, I
and
saw
became so successful afterwards. So she's a great role model. I mean, she's Aussie as well. So that's just, yeah, really inspiring to be something like Curle, as big as her.
Okay. And what designer suits your body type best? And what type of clothing?
Well, I haven't worn too many designer clothes yet, but I've done a few swimwear kind of runways, and I've really enjoyed that. I mean, it's great to see new bathers every time, as they've come out, the new styles. I love it. It's so much fun.
Sounds good. And what advice would you give to others who want to be models or want to try modelling?
Be yourself. I mean, that's the only way you'll be successful, I think, if you're down to earth. Do what you're true to. I mean, if you're not yourself, I mean, you're not yourself, so you can't go that far if you're trying to be someone else.
And in 5 years, where would you see yourself?
Probably at university, I think. Hopefully at university. Maybe doing some modelling as well at the same time. I'd like to fit both into my life, but really education would come first, but modelling, yeah, definitely.
So if it came to it and you had to choose between modelling or education, which one?
That's a hard one. I wouldn't be able to decide that easily, but maybe education over modelling, but modelling is a great thing. Definitely.
It is. And how do you stay so grounded? Because clearly you're a very grounded person. So.
Well, I try not to let it get to my head. I mean, I remember where I've come from. I'm just a normal schoolgirl like everyone else. I mean, there's nothing different about me, so there's no reason why I should act differently. So, yeah, it's just kind of keeping your head about it, so.
Is there something you would never wear?
Not really. I'd wear anything really, but maybe I'd keep most of my clothes on, hopefully. So I'd try not to,
It's good to know. And what message would you give to kids who look up to you as a model?
Like I said before, just be yourself, be confident, do what you're true to. I mean, there's no point in trying to be anyone else because, I mean, you only have yourself, so, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Sam. We really enjoyed having you on the show. And if you want more information, go to the Couch website, thecouch.com.au. So that's all from me. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nienke. Nice to have you on the show. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Marnie. We're also going to be talking to Cameron Lynch, and we've also got Paula and Clay coming in with a very special guest. Stay tuned. You're watching The Couch.
episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Cafe Bella Vista Restaurant and Pizzeria. Azito, give it a go with Azito. Refresh Pure Water. And Reading Cinemas, experience the difference.
Welcome back to The Couch on Aurora Television and Face TV around Australia, New Zealand and the world, and on the web on thecouch.com.au. This is a little kitten. You'll probably be wondering who my co-host is, but they're part of SAFE. They're a great group that looks after animals in danger and fostering as well. To talk to them today is our very own SAFE presenter, Marnie Giroud.
Hi everyone and welcome to Wild Things. Well, in Western Australia, the law requires that impounded animals are kept for 72 hours, if not microchipped. After that time, councils can dispose of the animals either through offering to rescue groups, selling or euthanasia. At some pounds, that's carried out by shooting. SAFE Perth rescue animals due for euthanasia at vets and pounds, and they also take in unwanted and abandoned animals, and they even fly some in from remote locations. Pretty amazing. Joining me today is Nienke West, cat foster coordinator, and Nicole Taylor, dog foster coordinator from SAFE Perth. Welcome to the show, girls.
Hi, Marnie.
Now look, tell me a little bit about your foster roles. You manage a lot of volunteers who take in the animals in their own homes until forever homes can be found. That's a huge task. How many volunteers are you managing?
Oh, I think I've got about 150 carers on board at the moment.
150 carers for cats, and Nicole for dogs?
Approximately about 100 working carers at the moment.
Right, and you know, both of you guys work, don't you, as well?
You do.
So that's huge. So you're managing hundreds of volunteers between you and you work. Truly incredible stuff, ladies. That's amazing. I know that obviously you've been looking for a property to sort of help out with the amount of animals you're getting in. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Nicole?
Sure. We recently purchased 15 acres out in Bullsbrook, so we want to actually develop our own rescue centre so that we can house animals and be able to help even more, because at the moment they're all in foster homes and we can be limited at times just based on the number of people wanting to help. So if we have our own facility, that would be great. But we're even branching out to farming animals.
Right.
We've got 2 pigs at the moment.
2 pigs?
Yes.
Great, and we can see some photos at the moment of that beautiful property. So now if people would like to help with that property, obviously you're going to need a lot of stuff, Nienke. What can they do?
We certainly do. We're actually looking for tradespeople with lots of skills, can help us with fencing, with laying cement. We're hoping to build a house for a carer. We're hoping to get our boarding kennels up and going very soon.
Right.
So any skills, corporate support, we can plug their businesses on our Facebook page, on our website.
Great.
We're happy to put up signs to give their business a little bit more media exposure as well.
Now you guys need, you need so much stuff there, don't you? You need some fencing and eventually a house, I believe, as well, so that you can have a caretaker on site.
Exactly, that's what we're looking for. So anyone that can help us with anything, or even just donate in the way of money, you can nominate what you would like that to go to, and we can send you a tax deductible receipt back. If you can help with donations in the form of food, bedding, dog toys, cat toys, anything for our pigs, we'd love it.
Anything for the pigs. Excellent. Now, obviously, we've got some furries here. Let's talk about the furries. Nicole, tell us a bit about the furries. Who have we got here? This little squirmer.
With the puppies, they came down, there were 6 in total from Broome.
Right.
And the one you've got is Bonnie. She's got the little rolls all over her. She's lovely. And I've got little Penny, who is the little runt of the litter.
Runt of the litter. So they had a little flight, did they?
They did.
They flew down. That's
Yes.
incredible. And Nienke, what about the kitty you've got there? And Fred's got the other one there.
Yeah, I've got Ozzy here with me, and Fred's got Parker. They're brothers. They were found on an empty lot in Osborne Park. They were probably about 4 weeks old, so they've had a rough start because they were quite ill. But look at them now; they're ready to find their forever home.
Oh yeah, they're doing well. Look at the one with Fred there.
I think you might have found his home.
So we're getting very well acquainted over here.
I think so. I think Parker's a good name for that.
It is. Thank you, Marnie.
So obviously, guys, these beautiful little puppies and kitties are up for adoption. If people would like to adopt an animal with SAFE, what do they do and what's included in the fee?
They can go to our website and look at what kind of fosters we've got available at that moment. We're updating nearly on a daily basis.
Right.
We've also got a Facebook page where we put updates on. They can just contact us through the phone number supplied. We'll have a chat with the person that is inquiring. We'll find the most suitable home. Yeah, an adoption fee includes the microchipping, de-sex, vaccination, and women flea treatments.
Which is awesome because it can be very expensive to do that if you take your animal in, as we know. So that's actually, most of the adoption fees are extremely reasonable, and if not cheaper than actually purchasing an animal elsewhere, and maybe not such great condition.
Most certainly.
Thanks so much for coming on today, guys, and we wish you all the best with finding these gorgeous little fuzzies some homes real soon. This one looks like she's about to pass out on me now. She was a squirmer before. She's chewing my microphone. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on, and we'll chat to you soon.
Thanks, Marnie.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us today, guys, on Wild Things. If you'd like any information on SAFE Perth, how you can adopt these gorgeous little guys, or if you can help with some money for that new safe house, check out our website at www.thecouch.com.au. Keep it wild. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Marnie. I didn't know these cats were into breastfeeding. That's lovely. I might just get
They
her
are
out.
mammals.
Mind you, it's not such a bad thing on a Sunday night if you're bored at home. Put them in your pocket. If you missed any of the details about SAFE and the great work they do, or Marnie and the great work she does as well, please check out this information now.
If you're looking for more info on anything you've seen on today's show, head to thecouch.com.au. It's where you'll find all the links for our guests, plus clips from the show, backstage photos, and even exclusive movie reviews. You can also sign up as a couchie and be part of our competitions, including Spin It to Win It. New Zealand viewers, that's open to you too. So jump online and check it out now. thecouch.com.au.
That is how you get in contact with us, and please get in touch because we'd love you to be part of Spin It to Win It when we do come back in a century or so's time. Now, can I just say, Cam?
Yes.
Our crew are so rude.
I know,
At
right?
the beginning of the show, I said I'll be stroking a pussy or two, and they all looked at me and said, and then you saw what I just did?
You people disgust me,
They do.
honestly.
They're so-
This is a family show.
They are so immature.
Tell me about it.
Oh,
Oh,
disgusting.
goodness me. Anyway.
It's terrible.
We'll sack them all and bring in some new people
I
next week.
think so,
Yep,
Cam.
absolutely.
What about entertainment-wise? What have we
Entertainment,
got?
I have a veritable cavalcade of entertainment news for you this week. Now, first and foremost, multi-gold winning Olympian, Mr. Ian Thorpe, and possibly the worst kept secret in business and showbiz, has come out to reveal that he is in fact gay. Now, I don't have a problem with it. I don't really care, to be perfectly honest, whatever your sexual orientation is.
Well,
I think it is...
Do you know what, Cameron? I've got to, while I remember the tag.
Yes.
Last week, I was with, of course, Ian.
Yes.
And I did ask him, I said to him, Ian, are you gay? And he said, no, but my boyfriend is. And I should have known.
Right.
I should have known there and then.
Was this on your conversation with him on those paddle boats you sit back and together and like you had a straw boater on? And
No, he
everything
was
like that?
teaching me how to swim. I was pretending
okay.
I couldn't swim.
Okay.
Of course, he let me drown.
Good cover. But anyway, so it is good that he's coming out and being
Do you
who
think
he is.
it's a big issue? I've given you actually more time today. So
Oh, okay.
Do you think it's a...
I was like, we're getting the wind up already, Fred.
No, you've got 7 minutes left.
Yep.
Do you think, really... I was on 6PR last night and everybody rang up about Ian Thorpe. And,
okay.
and I'm like, who really cares?
Exactly.
Why should it change anything about the person? Who cares if he's gay or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it is kind of the worst kept secret in show business. I think people kind of had at least an inkling of it.
Yeah.
Not that it's any of their damn business, but now that he's come out and said it, everyone can go, well, yeah, big whoop. But then people have said, this is going to empower other homosexuals to come out of the closet. I'm like, really? Ian Thorpe's going to make you do this? Like, it's like when Liberace,
But he
that
was
movie came
suffering.
out, and it's like, what, he was gay? Wow, you know what I mean? Like,
Now,
as
recently-
an irrelevant gay
Yes.
icon, like,
Yeah.
you know what I
But
mean?
recently he had problems. He's suffering from depression
Yeah.
and some other issues as well. So he probably wouldn't be the icon you'd be looking up to at the moment. But
Possibly.
the being gay bit, I heard today on 6PR, Bob Mormel's show, apparently he was paid, $400,000 for the interview.
Paid for an interview?
Yeah, Channel
Well,
10
good thing I'm
Channel-
sitting down.
I
That's so
believe
surprising.
It was paid by, this is the alleged rumour was
Right.
that 400,000 was paid by Channel 10 to him,
Okay.
300 went to him, and 100,000 went to Michael Parkinson.
Oh, of course. Yep.
There
bit
you
of a-
go.
Yeah, for
So
the
I find that
expose.
an incredible amount of money for him to come out and say he's gay.
Well, I mean,
I'd
if
come out
someone's...
and say I'm gay for 100,000 if you're interested in Channel 10.
I'd
Cam
come
would
out
do
and say I'm
50.
gay for $100. So,
Hey,
it's like, it may not be true, but hey, I'm $100 in the black, so it's good to go.
So I just, do you reckon it's such a big issue?
It's not a big issue at all.
Do you think it would
If it
just
does
boil?
help people sort of accept who they are. But the modern age we live in, like, well, it's a first world country, gays are prominently featured in TV and advertising and things like that, openly gay characters. We don't live in a country where you can get your hands cut off or stoned to death or something, thank goodness. So it's not, to me, it's not a huge issue.
It's
but then again,
not front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're blowing it up. Good for him, and I hope the depression alleviates all that so he can be himself. But at the same time, I just think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup.
And he's got a new book, apparently.
Oh, what a surprise.
Once again. He's got his own autobiography. So.
Okay. I'll tuck my cynicism in my back pocket for a second. Next story is a one Mrs. Sofia Vergara. Well, actually, Miss Sofia Vergara. And her new boyfriend, Joe Manganiello. Can you imagine that? Adorable children they're going to churn out. She was originally engaged to a gentleman named Nick Loeb, who was a businessman in the US. Apparently they met at a congressional White House thing recently in May, and now they've officially, to celebrate her 42nd birthday, they've officially come out and said we're together. 42, yes.
Is that all she is?
Sofia Vergara, Joe Manganiello, who's seen in Magic Mike, True Blood, and things like that. He is 37 as well. So yes, they're going to have insanely gorgeous babies. They're going to take over the world. So
amazing.
That will be quite interesting. And also two other very, very handsome people, Channing Tatum and his wife, Jenna Dua Tatum, as seen here, star of also Magic Mike and 22 Jump Street. A lot of Magic Mike news I'm sort of putting out here. So it's a good movie. Check it out.
I noticed he put on a bit of weight, though.
He is getting a bit...
He let himself go.
He is getting a little bit pudding-faced
I'm obviously
in his old
his role
age.
model.
But yeah, I was going to say, basically, I think the Star Chronicle, the Star magazine over in Europe, sorry, it's kind of hard not to. They came out and said that their relationship was on the rocks. They've recently celebrated the 5th wedding anniversary, so they're saying nothing could be better. They've done a bunch of Instagram photos with that, so it is good to see. I think a lot of it's that Freudenschau thing where people like to see sort of celebrities fail and celebrity matchups don't sort of work, sort of thing, especially when they're so devastatingly good looking as they are. So all power to them. I hope they enjoy many more years of marriage, especially people say, oh yeah, Channing Tatum's a bit of a womanizer because he is a bit of a hunk, much like Fred, following in his footsteps. So fingers crossed they'll have many more years of happy wedded bliss to come.
Now that you've brought that up, that link with me and Tatum, I actually was a stripper, I've got to admit.
Oh, okay.
Look, it won't go... Probably the Sunday Times will take the story.
I was going to say, yep.
Tatum was actually, during the show, he used to strip. They used to get me to strip at the end of the show so that people could leave the building.
Okay.
And they could close the doors. It's a true story. Of course, I didn't mind.
Okay. Yeah, you got paid your $50.
Can I tell you a bit of a rumour I heard?
Okay.
The biggest loser, and it's not me, the biggest loser on Channel 10...
After this story,
back.
I think we're all the biggest loser, but yes.
Channel 10 are bringing it back.
Oh, wicked.
The rumour is they're bringing it back with a revamp.
Okay.
You reckon good idea?
No. I thought there was a joke at the end of that, but
no,
is that its own punchline?
Is
Sorry,
that because it's got Channel 10, it has to have a joke
Very
at the
possibly,
end of it?
yes. Speaking of things that weren't a joke, Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which has been released recently.
Awesome.
Very, very good movie I saw. I gave it 9 out of 10. They showed the latest preview at one of the World Cup matches in front of 10 million people, and it did show one of the main characters actually mowing down a human with a machine gun. So, which is quite a terrifying scene if you've seen it as well. But basically, well, anything with a bonobo on horseback with an M16, nightmare fuel, basically. But basically, they're saying, look, children watch the World Cup, and this is wholly inappropriate. People went to Twitter and went absolutely ape. You know what? Sorry, excuse the vernacular to work in that pun. But basically, I think it is. They have had previous promos that could have shown, which are more family friendly. But it is a great film, and it is. I think it's M-rated.
Look, I don't normally sort of tell you off in the show, but there's a little bit too much monkey business going on here.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
We're getting worse.
We're getting worse.
Must be the wind-up time.
Hastily moving on. Speaking of diminutive ape-like creatures, Grant Denyer in the Family Feud reboot. Basically, they're hedging their bets as to whether this is going to really sort of float on prime time. So it's a 6 p.m. time slot against here in Perth, the ratings juggernaut that are, hold on to your hats, 7 and 9 News respectively. So they're basically saying, look, is this...
I bet 7's worried.
I was going to say, they're saying it's a bit of a tired format. Is Denyer enough? He said he was officially retiring from TV, but now he's back on Channel 10. So defector time, what do you think,
I'm going to predict. Grant Denyer, I reckon, is really well suited. I remember the original Family Feud with Tony Barber, slightly the same height.
Right.
So they're probably wearing the same suits.
Okay.
But... Can I tell you, I think Grant Denyer is going to do well with this because I think he can... Look, I always think Grant Denyer is not the most intellectual person, and I'm not saying he's stupid by no means. I'm saying to you, he's not a university graduate when he performs as a presenter. So I think Family Feud, he can be a little bit more dumb, if that's the word you want. He can dumb it down and be quite successful.
Accessible.
Whereas on the $1 Million Minute and those sort of shows, it's all about intelligence. It's all about being 100% accurate.
Yep.
Family Feud is a bit more relaxed, and I think it will suit him.
Yeah, well, now that Fred's coming out and saying he's going to watch Family Feud, their viewing figures have doubled to 2. So hopefully it will be the success it needs to be.
And if it doesn't work out with Family Feud, there's a spot as a weatherman
That's
at Channel
true.
10.
Yes.
So you never know.
Or
Is
I think Noddy's looking for some casting as well. Finally, a bit of a send out to a dear friend of mine. I've never met him in my life, but he's an icon.
Choking, it's all right.
Tommy Ramone, the last living Ramone, passed away a couple of days ago. And from the right, Joey, Johnny, and Dee Dee have all passed away from 2001, 2006, and 2002,
Amazing.
respectively. Yes, if you haven't heard Ramones, they aren't just a clothing brand from Target or Kmart. They actually are an iconic band from back in the day. They engineered and sort of personified the pop punk sound, the driving force you would hear in a lot of modern punk bands, and they all basically owe their credence to that band. So make sure you check them out. The first 4 albums are unbelievable, unrivaled. So Tommy, looking down from us, a salute to you and your fabulous music, sir.
Thank you, Cam. Thanks for being on the show today. We'll catch up with you next week with movies. And now it's time for me to welcome someone very, very special to me here at the couch, is, of course, my good friends, Paula and Clay, that do music. Hey. Welcome. And let's introduce Sam as well, because I know we've got a special guest. I'll let you pronounce that, because I don't want to get it right. Is it Ludeman?
Ludeman.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, Sam. Nice to have you here at the show.
Thanks for having me.
And having you in Perth. Now, you're with us because you're with Reece at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
And I know we're going to talk more with Paula. We're going to do some music, and then we're going to talk all about you.
Yep.
So
sounds good.
Sit back, relax. Paula, what have we got music-wise?
All right, so the first part of news that we've got today is about Robin Thicke. So you know Robin Thicke from Blurred Lines when he was being all skanky with Miley Cyrus and all that sort of stuff and all that really. Yes, well, he's he's created a new album and he's named it Paula. What a beautiful name. Anyway, however, it's a big flop. He's written it for his wife, Paula Patton, for all the heartache. Ex-wife, for all the heartache he's caused her because he's been such a pig. Honest, he's just been a pig.
Really? It was a sorry album.
And in Australia, it sold like 53 copies.
Are you serious?
So now he's real sorry.
He's real sorry.
Isn't he really big when it comes to the what do you call them, R&B?
Well, he used to be. I think a lot of his behaviours like affected him quite a deal.
The audience.
I liked him way back in the day when he sang "When I Get Your Line." That was my favourite song.
He looked like Jesus, right?
Yeah, he was
riding a bike.
Yeah, riding a bike through the streets and just singing. And he was absolutely fantastic. And so, yeah, he's just turning out crap, basically.
So do you reckon I can still get a refund on one of those 53 CDs? I'm just asking.
Are you one of the 53?
One of them, mate.
It might be valuable one day.
And we've also had, what have we had this week? Last week?
Last week we were full on with the NAIDOC celebrations that were going around.
Now, NAIDOC, of course, is national.
Yes, and it's like
Aboriginal?
respecting
Aboriginal
I was hoping that you'd tell us the rest
Day
of it.
Organising Committee. I'm sorry, I don't know.
NAIDOC is a national celebration for Indigenous
people.
Australians.
That's right.
But it's a fantastic event.
It was a massive week. My boys, the Dulcet Tones, got together with the Marindas and we performed at the Ball just last Friday.
At Perth Convention Centre. It was awesome. Huge. And Troy Casadaley was there as well. And we got to, well, I didn't because I had to sit at
You get
the back.
to mingle with all the big people.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
This was his moment. This was his moment.
Oh, fair enough.
No, it was an awesome week. So, yeah.
Now, for those people who don't know the Dulcet Tones, that's your band, isn't it?
The Dulcet Tones is a Motown tribute group that I'm a singer in. And
Indigenous.
So, yeah, we're the first Indigenous Motown brothers of soul, if you like.
And are you performing anywhere else at the moment, or are you sort of laying low?
We're preparing sort of a full-length tribute show. So right now we're still in the working lines.
And of course your sister act is the Marindas, so they're doing fantastic as well. Sorry to
sister act, I like that. I like what you did there. I like that.
Fantastic, guys. I'm really honoured to have you guys part of the show because we've had you on the show singing, so we'd love to get you back again. Of course, we don't mind having Paula back.
I'll be back.
You'll be back.
Yeah, when all my musicians decide not to get sick and stuff, I'll be back.
We were going to get you guys to perform live today, but we couldn't do it because a few people were sick. But we'll get you back on in a few weeks.
But what I did this week was I brought a friend along, so I think that sort of covers it.
Do you want to introduce your friend?
Yeah, so for those that don't know who this is Sam Ludeman. And Sam and I first met on The Voice. Yeah. We were both in Team Seal, and we sort of all hung out backstage and had a great time. But Sam's been doing so much awesome stuff lately. But I know Fred will probably want to know this question is like, how was your experience on The Voice?
On The Voice, I guess nerve-wracking because it blew up. You know, it went so well and got so many views, and I was crapping my pants, I guess.
I think, do we have some overlay from The Voice? I think we might just show you on The Voice so people can remember what you look like there.
All right.
Let's show some overlay. There you go there. Run us through this. What was this?
This was me singing slightly flat, but all right. Yeah, this was getting picked by Team Seal, or Seal, the man. In the blind auditions. And Delta turned. I should have went with Delta because she's so hot.
I said the same thing.
You thought Delta was hot as well?
Hot, and I should have gone with Delta.
So hot.
It's been one of those days.
One of those moments where you're like, I wish I went the other way. That's when, I wish I did that.
Can I ask, do you regret doing The Voice, or would you do it all over again?
Oh, no, absolutely. I got so much out of it in so many different ways, and it taught me a lot.
You hear so much about it being plastic, fake.
It definitely is.
It's all those things, but it's worth it.
It's a structure, it's a business model, it's to make money, and it's not about us, it's about ratings. And you realise that, and I knew that going into it, and I tried my hardest to make it work for me. And
how did you go after The Voice? What happened for you? Because it's been about a year, hasn't it?
Gigs. I was a too many gigs, 5-6 gigs a week. I was destroying my voice, and that's why I kind of stopped after a year and a half of that and went back to musicals and acting, because I thought I wanted to be a recording artist. And
who was the best of the coaches? You got to meet all of them, didn't you?
Joel and Keith.
Joel Madden?
Yeah, Joel and Keith. Delta was great, but not,
Not as a coach?
Not as a coach, just a stunning human. That I wish I messaged a bit more.
Was the audience amazing to be singing in front of so many people?
Yeah, when they said, when the ratings were coming in and they said our first live show would be in front of 3.7 million people, that's when I went,
a lot of people.
Wow, I'm not nervous.
It's interesting that you mentioned all the other judges bar the one you chose.
Yeah.
It leads me to think, how are you feeling?
Seal and I didn't get along. We had a bit of a fight, actually.
Did you steal his fingernail polish? Or?
Yeah, I know. He was like, where's my gold? I can only wear red today. No, it was just, he kind of promised the world, and I found him quite arrogant and a little bit phony.
Would you do X Factor?
Well, if I needed some more money.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. If I was desperate.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell us, Paula, you're going to talk to us about Greece, something.
Because I know you met everybody a lot better and things like that. Out of all the contestants, do you think that Carissa Eden deserved to win the show?
Yeah. Mainly because of her life struggle, and she does have a fantastic voice.
It's a really strong voice as well.
It is. I felt like it was the right person to win in a show like that.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just a pop princess. It wasn't just someone beautiful. It wasn't a backstory, and she had a great backstory, but it was true. So I thought she did deserve it.
So The Voice has been a great thing for you at the moment, and help launch your career.
Yeah,
which is kind of what we all try and do, is just launch it and use it the best we can. So now you're in Greece.
Yep.
And how's that all going?
It's great. It's great. I'm actually a little bit injured at the moment because I've been dancing too hard.
Too much pelvic thrusting.
What's your role in Greece?
So I play Sonny.
And who's he? For those people
he's like one of the T-Birds. He's Danny's best friend, basically. One of Danny's best friends, and he thinks he's Danny, but he's not.
Do you get to sing?
Yes, but no, I don't have my own solo number. It's like the first musical where I'm just
you should sing
acting.
something from it, though, I think.
I reckon we'll get him to do that out to a break, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
you can
good.
sing it. Think of a song. But I know we're rapidly running out. I just want to ask you, the rest of the cast, who's in Greece?
So Rob Mills, you might know, Bert Newton,
I know
Todd
him
McKinney.
very well, thank you very much. And then you've got the B. Smith from Prisoner.
B. Smith, yeah.
And who's acting as Sandy? Who's Sandy as well?
Gretel Scarlett.
Yes.
She was in Wicked. Her last role was in Wicked, and she's amazing. Great voice, and it's been a great role for her. Big challenge because it's so iconic.
And where's Greece going to after this? So you're just in Perth.
So in Perth for 2 more weeks, and then we go to Adelaide and Hobart before returning back to Melbourne because it's sold so well.
Fantastic.
Now, if people want more information about Greece, the website is on our screen right now. It is, of course, Greece the musical. Oh, we'll be there very, very soon. I promise you, it will be there. It will be there. No, go to thecouch.com.au. It's there. There it is in the corner. Thecouch.com.au. Someone put that up. But that's okay. No, it's gone as well. It's one of those sort of shows. It will be there. We'll edit it in. Trust me. That's how live we are. We can edit things in. Are you enjoying Greece?
Yeah.
Would you do it all over again?
Yeah.
Now, you're travelling all around Australia, aren't you?
Yeah, we opened in Brisbane, then we went to Sydney, then Melbourne, then Singapore.
Fantastic.
Perth.
Well, people can catch Greece here in Perth at the Crown.
Yep.
Is that
Is
still
it the
called Crown?
Burswood?
I think it's still called the Crown. Is it the Crown? I have to get it right because it is Crown now, no longer Burswood.
Yeah.
Very
So
confusing.
Crown.
But fantastic. Thank you for being on the show today. I know
No
we
worries,
never have
thank
enough
you.
time. This is Sam. Thank Ludeman for Sam Ludeman for being in. It's one of those shows. It's the Ian Thorpe thing. I've got the lift. Sorry, soon I'll get the lift.
All flustered.
Thank you to Paula. Thank you to Clay.
Thanks for having
you to
us.
Cameron. And thanks to you at home. Would you want to sing us out with something beautiful?
Summer loving had me a blast. Summer loving happened so
Let's all sing together.
fast. I met a girl crazy for me.
I met a boy
Cute to me.
Summer days drifting away to all the summer nights.
Tell me more, let's go to the break. Tell me more, Jenny's coming up. See you then.
Your singing was a mistake.
This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Cafe Bella Vista Restaurant and Pizzeria. Azito, give it a go with Azito. Refresh Pure Water. And Reading Cinemas, experience the difference.
Welcome back to The Couch here on Aurora Television and Face TV in New Zealand. And if you're watching us on the net, thecouch.com.au. The Greens, for me, have become an alternative that I think is a fresh change to Australian politics. By no means am I favouring the Greens, but I think when they talk, they're starting to make a lot of sense. And with us today, we've got Senator Rachel Seward. Talking to her is our very own Nisha Seth, and they're talking pollies. Over to you.
Thanks, Fred. Welcome to The Couch, Senator. Great to have you here again.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, today there's a number of topics that we want to cross over and talk about, and one of the most pertinent ones is the youth unemployment rate at the moment, which I believe is quite high.
Yeah, it is. It's around, on average, 12.5%, but in some areas, for example, Kwinana, it's as high as 18%. And we're very concerned about the government's approach to youth unemployment, and there's been some really good reports come out lately that really point to some really effective directions, and we're really worried that government's ignoring those and going for a really punitive approach, which the experts say isn't going to work.
So what's the current approach? Let's make this real.
So what the government's proposing in the budget is for anybody under 30, and it's actually really unusual, I think, that we're now defining youth as under 30, but anybody under 30, if you don't have a job or you're not in some form of training, you're going to be dumped off New Start or income support for sometimes even more than 6 months at a time. Now that actually presents another barrier to employment, because we know poverty and disadvantage are two barriers to employment. So it's not actually supporting people to find a job, it's actually punishing people, which actually has a very negative effect on young people.
And Anglicare recently, the report you mentioned earlier when we were chatting, tell me about that report, because that found quite a few interesting facts, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It looked at it basically established the fact that the issues around youth unemployment, there's a lot of complexity there. There's a lot of barriers to employment. So it's actually not rocket science. It's suggesting that you treat people as individuals, and instead of doing a one-size-fits-all approach, you actually look at what are their barriers to employment and actually start addressing those barriers. And then I think if you start looking at the sort of investment they're making into youth unemployment and into employment services, if we tailored those better, because they're not performing, they're not finding young people work. If we actually tailored those better, use those resources, we don't even have to inject more, we just have to make those services more effective. We'll actually do a lot and take a positive incentive-based approach rather than a punitive approach.
And for the youth unemployment rate to be over 12% as opposed to, overall unemployment being at 6%, does that say to you that, the focus really does need to be on that generation who are going to be your next biggest, I guess, segment of the population shifting forward?
That's right. And the other thing we need to bear in mind is the employment market's changing. There's a lot more part-time and casual work. And a lot of the government's work is focused on, or government's focus is on full-time work, ignoring the fact that our market is changing. They also take the approach that any job is better than no job. And what the Anglicare report says is that if young people have a bad experience when they first engage in employment, it actually sets them back. So they talk about the need to look at the market as it is now, but also focus on quality employment and a quality experience, because that'll have lifelong consequences.
It's a sustainability, isn't it?
That's exactly right. They talk about quality, sustainable employment. So, and that's again what the government's forgetting. It's this. The Anglicare report says work first. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that we don't need to be ensuring that young people find employment, but I do think we need to bear in mind the long-term consequences, and also think if the government continues with this approach, they're actually setting up people to A, fail, and B, have long-term impacts down the track. Whereas if we actually put the effort and support young people now, they'll have much better life outcomes, and we'll have a much more engaged workforce, and not the adverse consequences that disengagement can have down the track.
Sure, and in terms of consequences, I guess, as well, do you think it'll lead people into other systems that are already heaving, like the mental health system?
That's exactly right. And so we're talking about, you know, if we can't give people quality outcomes now, they'll end up long-term unemployed, poor health outcomes, because we know that disadvantage is associated with poor health outcomes. We know poor mental health outcomes. So it does have long-term consequences, more funding for emergency relief. We know that if you're in disadvantage, you've got a higher chance of becoming homeless. So there's a whole lot of negative consequences if we don't get this right up front.
So where are we with this issue at the moment?
Well, the budgets. Obviously, the government's got its problems getting its budget through the Senate. It's got these measures are in what we call the Social Services Bills 1 and 2. They're currently with a Senate inquiry. I'm on that inquiry, and then they'll need to try and push it through the Senate. We're opposed to it. Understand that Labor Party's opposed to many of those measures, and I understand Palmer United is opposed to some of them, although, quite frankly, who knows where they're going to end up. We went into vote in the Senate on Thursday on the carbon price, expecting one outcome and actually had another one. So I think that we need to be doing a lot of work to make sure that people understand the consequences of the budget, measures.
Can I just interrupt, Rachel, just ask a quick question? Am I right in thinking that the Greens aren't opposed to reform or change? You obviously agree that we need to make the system better?
Yes, exactly.
So it's not for people out there. I want them to be clear that they sometimes the media gives a wrong impression. The Greens aren't against reform, but they want it to be fair.
Exactly.
And basically you leave the people that are less vulnerable alone.
Yeah.
So we're talking about age pensioners, disability pensions. We need to stop being a nasty country where we're touching people. People on disabilities, 99% of them are genuine disabilities.
Exactly right. And I haven't met one person with a disability had the capacity to work who didn't want to work.
Exactly.
The thing is that they've been discriminated against and they don't have adequate supports to find work or remain in work.
Why do you think the government's target them openly? I don't believe the government's trying to be mean. I think they've been misguided. Who do you think's given them the direction?
You're doing that's quite kind.
I'm trying to be kind.
Yeah, I was deeply concerned that when they started articulating some more of the measures they're going to be taking, particularly for people that are on disability support pension, it was the day they had that disgusting headline, and I think it was in the Daily Telly, talking about people on disability rorting the system. Now, I think it's a shame. It's a real shame, and it desperately hurt a lot of people with disability, and it makes it even harder for them to find work, because then people accusing them of being slackers.
Do you know what it sounds like to me? Like it's when we all work in a little office, and when people say, those people on the dole are all bludgers. It's like talking around a water filter.
Yeah.
It's that type of talk where it's hearsay. There's no fact behind it. It's personal opinion, and the government's run off and gone, we've got to tackle all these people because one person said that a disability pensioner isn't fairly on the system, and I think that's what we need to move away from. And I know Nisha's got some more questions, but I just want people to understand that the Greens aren't against reform. I think simplifying the social system, the social security system, is a wonderful idea. It's just leaving the people who are in the system, who are already suffering, leave them alone and draw a line in the sand and go from there.
And looking at a better way to support people, and particularly young people and people that are unemployed, into work. It's as easy as the government tries to make out, particularly for young people. And with the changing job market, it is very hard to find those first entry-level jobs. It's particularly hard. We need to be providing as much support as we can.
And I'll tell you, I know Nish will start. We've only got about 3 minutes left there. But what I wanted to ask you is, do you think there's support out there in the public? Because I've had a lot of people when I'm on 6PR radio that have come back and said they would rather pay 15% GST. And I know we're not talking about putting up the GST. People are saying, I'd rather pay 15% GST and leave everybody that's on social welfare alone.
I've had so much feedback from people saying, we actually don't mind paying taxes because we want good health systems, we want good education systems, and we want a fair social security system. And, you know, I've been campaigning for a rise in New Start for years because it's impossible to live on $35 a day, which is what happens when you're on New Start. People are very prepared to pay fair tax to get good services.
I think we value things in this country and value people who are hard done by. We value the sick people in the community and the people who are unemployed and the poor. And there are poor people, let's face it, reality, there are poor people in Australia. And I think we need to, I love the fact that Australians are saying leave those people alone. What we might do, we'll continue this, we'll take a break. What we'll do is we're going to take a quick break if we can, Liam. We'll take a quick break and we will be back with more of Pollie Waffle and the Senator after this. Thanks for staying.
This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Cafe Bella Vista Restaurant and Pizzeria. Azito, give it a go with Azito. Refresh Pure Water. And Reading Cinemas, experience the difference.
Welcome back to our second part of Pollie Waffle here on the couch. We've got Senator Rachel Seward from the Greens and our very own Nisha. I interrupted before, so I took up too much time, but I'm going to throw it back to Nisha. Nisha, back to you.
Thanks, Fred. No problems at all. Always welcome to jump in.
Well, thank you. You know, you've invited me.
That's an open invitation.
Gosh.
Can I just ask one
Oh,
quick
here we
question?
go. Already.
Rachel, the new pups.
Yep.
Honestly, what's your impression? Because I'm really confused of who they are and what they do with their yellow coats.
Well, they certainly had a very intense first week in the Parliament, and it was pretty intense for the whole week. I'm the Greens Party whip, so I was in there virtually the whole time.
So why didn't you use your whip?
Oh, you felt like it sometimes to bring a bit of order.
I'm sorry, Jackie, and I respect them as senators. They've been elected in there, but I just the mess that they caused in the first time that they had to vote on anything.
Well, see, it gets down to also, which is what Christine Milne said, is that Prime Minister Abbott's going to have a hard time negotiating because he's sort of lacks a bit of subtlety, and you're dealing with a group of people that are put in the limelight straight away in the first week. And I think bringing Parliament back for the first 2 weeks in July, which we never usually sit, we usually have the winter break, and then new senators get to have a little bit of couple of weeks of settling in as new senators, whereas this week they started 1 week and they're straight into it. And I think that was a fundamental mistake of the Prime Minister, rather than actually letting them get in, finding their feet, and actually getting used to what the Senate does.
It's funny because for a government that had a lot of experience from the Howard government, a lot of the leftovers from that government back there again.
But if you do remember, when the Howard government got balance of both houses of Parliament, they abused that, and I think part of their driving their hard agenda led to their downfall because they let it go to their head.
Do you know, it always makes me laugh how I think if you want to stay in government, sometimes you need to compromise and give in, because otherwise you'll be a first-term Prime Minister, first-term government, and everything will go back the way it was. So why bother?
Look what happened when Howard, because I started, that was my initiation into the Senate, was when Howard got control of both houses of Parliament, and he brought in work choices, welfare to work. They really got caned and they lost government, particularly
nasty years, I would call it. Sorry, Nisha.
No problems at all.
Well, I wish you luck with the pups,
really
because I hope you give them a bone, because they look like a very fierce mob. And confused as well.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, it's hard to get your head around Senate process, and they were thrown right in at the deep end.
And do you think now we've got the blue ties for the blue ties for the Liberal Party? You've got the red for the Labor Party. You've got the Greens on the green, and now you've got the yellow coats, and they all look like real estate agents. I can't help them. LJ Hooker. Sorry.
That's okay. Fashion is very important. Very important. I completely agree. But look, we'll move on to something which is around the Senate process as well. It's talking about the carbon tax. and what's happening in that space at the moment?
Well, obviously, we started last week thinking that the carbon price was going to be gone by the end of the week, and in fact the Greens had a little on Thursday morning. We had party meetings, and we just took a moment to think, we'd fought so hard for the clean energy package that really is starting to deliver, and is about to put, if it was let go as it is now, it started to be putting like 18 billion into the budget, and the Prime Minister's saying to the crossbench, if you don't want our budget measures, you find the money. Well, we've found them a lot, but they just don't like it. But by the end of Thursday, so he went in on Thursday morning expecting the price to be gone, and the leader of the government business moved the gag that the debate would finish at 11:50, and obviously he hadn't got PUP on board yet. So by the end of that time on the Thursday, PUP had said, no, we're not going to support it, and it went down. So who knows what this week's going to bring. That you see in today's media, they still sound like they haven't agreed over the amendments. And really, the Prime Minister needs to take a good, hard think about this. We don't think he should be getting rid of the clean energy package, because it is quite a complex package. And already, during the week, we voted to keep, of the 8 the package of bills we were dealing with, the Senate pulled out and supported the move to not cut the income 3 threshold, which of course got changed up to over 18,000 with the carbon package, and of course pulled that one out. So that blew another hole in the Prime Minister's budget. So it's I'd say it's not all over yet.
So I think that's one that we're going to have to keep updated next time you're on the show as well.
Watch this space, I think.
Yeah, look, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I do apologise, but we always get caught up in conversation and we've run out of time. But
it's always really interesting, isn't it, politics?
It is, yeah. Look, safe travels over Reece, because I know you're going back shortly, and we'll look forward to having you on the show soon again.
Oh, thank you, and I look forward to coming back.
Cool. Thanks, Senator. And now back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Rachel. Can I just ask another really quick one? Rachel, do you think that they'll be able to bet on the TAB if the carbon tax will go or not? Because I reckon if I put a bet on the other day, I probably would have made a bit of money.
I think somebody would have if they'd made a bit of money, because it would have been, 100 to 1 or something.
100 to 1 that it would never have gone the way it did. And can I ask as well, I saw the Labor guy, the opposition spokesman on clean energy, he was saying in the news that Labor wants to get rid of the carbon tax as well, and Liberals want it, and they just couldn't work it out between themselves. But why aren't Labor saying that publicly?
Well, Labor have been. They've said. Remember, they said when they went to the election that they wanted to move to an ETS. In fact, we have an ETS. Yep. The issue is when we go to the floating price, which is really what we should be looking at. So
it's not that they don't want to get rid of the carbon tax; they want an ETS in its place.
And we already have one. It's when we have moved to the floating price, which is what we should be talking about.
Well, thank you very much for making politics easy to understand. Thank you to Rachel Seward. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to Nisha. Thank you for watching at home. As always, I've gone over time. Sorry, Aurora. Sorry, Face TV New Zealand. You picture these New Zealanders having half the show cut off. But that's okay. We'll leave you today with a lovely young kid. He's only 10 years old. Reece, get his name right. Yeah, Reece Curle. Thank you. You threw a curly one at me. Reece Curle singing for us. And the song is called You Gotta Keep Your Head Up. Oh, that's for Rachel. I'm dedicating that song. We'll see you next week, Australia and New Zealand. Bye-bye.
Skeptics mess with confidence.
This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Cafe Bella Vista Restaurant and Pizzeria. Azito, give it a go with Azito. Refresh Pure Water. And Reading Cinemas, experience the difference.